kind of like, oh, should I restart that? Okay. All right. So today I'm giving a presentation about district resources, kind of like what they are, what currently exists, and where you can find them to use, just for yourself, your clubs, to get to your general members, etc. So before I begin, just quick question for all of you guys. You can do like a hand raise, a reaction, something like that, just so I can see who's like participating. So how many times or who here has tried to do something and they've said, wow, like I really want to do this like membership activity, but I don't have the resources for it. I have to like end up making it myself. Has any of you guys like run into that situation? Because I know I have. Um, yeah, something like even simpler or like officer training. I was a secretary for my club, NGIT. I had to make a whole presentation to kind of like walk my, I guess, like successor through the whole secretary process, and it was excruciating. So this is where district resources come in. So I don't know if any of you know this, but we kind of have a whole catalog of resources, be it like write-up packets, files, officer training materials, guides, kind of for basically everything you would need just to exist and run a club. And this is all from previous years and from our year. We currently have a lot of people who are currently working on resources, so it's an always developing thing. And we're always open to hearing suggestions about what you guys want. So that's basically the gist of this presentation. I'm going to share my screen now so you guys can see what's going on. All right. Can everyone see this? All right,
Yes.
perfect.
Yes.
So just fair warning in advance. This was thrown together pretty quickly, so don't expect like a beautiful presentation, but it will get the job done. All right. So I just want to start off with this point. This is pretty all-encompassing when it comes to resources, at least like when it comes to Circle K district resources. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, just attach it to a new one. So a lot of times we see it happen where basically you have an old board and a new board, and during that transition, you end up losing however many, like all the old work the board did, and then the new board kind of ends up having to like reinvent the wheel, where they just have to remake resources, kind of go through that same process over and over again. And quite honestly, it's really, really silly how like you end up doing that, especially just because it's such a waste of manpower and time. So the idea of kind of like a catalog of resources is to prevent this process from happening. So instead of having to reinvent the wheel, you just simply take what you have, attach it to your new or something similar. So before I go into kind of like everything about finding district resources, why should you use district resources? I mean, it's pretty simplistic. Like they're there for you to use, they help you. But the main three reasons is time. If something already exists, you don't have to spend time doing it. Or you could even alter what already exists, which will still take less time than fully making a new thing. Um, Efficiency. A lot of people who make the resources are from either the international board, who have a lot of experience with these things, or they're district officers like myself and Sonia, who have had a lot of, again, like past officer positions. So essentially, like we've gone through everything you guys are going through, and we have a lot of knowledge on various things like service activities, all that. So efficiency goes a lot higher with this kind of thing. And lastly, anger. Like I mentioned earlier, no one wants to sit down and remake something over and over again, especially if you know it exists somewhere. So these are the reasons that we try and provide you as much as we can, so you guys don't have to go through these three or have these three problems. So now, really important thing I want to mention here, Sonia's been trying to push this a lot. So district resources, obviously, they're out there for the public. However, obviously, they're there for you. So any dues paid member, general member or officer is basically allowed to use them. So this is kind of like what we're trying to push is that one of the biggest benefits of being a dues paid member is that you get access to all these resources, whether it is like physical, like materials, like PDFs, packets, that kind of stuff, or something kind of more abstract, like your alumni. All of the resources range from a bunch of broad topics, but in general, we would obviously requests that you be a dues paid member or dues paid member to access it. And I'll explain a little bit why about that later on, and kind of like why you do need to be a dues paid member to access things and that's all about. All right. So here's just a brief little list, kind of like of things that of resources that we offer. So we have a lot of training materials, templates and guides, service event ideas, membership growth toolkits, branding guides and logos, awards and contests, and obviously experience leadership awards. So a lot of things here, and there's plenty more where that comes from. And like I mentioned earlier, like we're always making new things for to give to our members. So if there's anything specifically you guys request or need from us, always happy to help with that. And at the end, I will kind of elaborate on that a little more. But for the time being, these are kind of like the most general categories of things. And again, like plenty of ways to access them. So as far as accessing them, you might say, where can I find district resources? So we have resources, or three main pathways for you to find these things. The first and biggest one is going to be our website, njcirclek.org. The second one's going to be circlek.org, which is the international website. So everything on njcirclek.org, or sorry, everything on like the international website is also on our website, just for reference. And I'll kind of explain why that is later. But essentially, these are like the two main sources of resources you get. And obviously, the third one is your LPG. However, I know all three of them are here smiling. Try not to bug them as much as possible, especially if it's a link in the website. But that said, they are there to be of service to you. They're there to help you. And the same goes for executive officers. So always feel free to like rely on us. We're here to help. That's essentially our job. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through the two websites, kind of like give a demonstration of what you were to do if you were trying to look for something. So the first one is our NJ Circle K website. And this presentation, Sonia, I'm sure will link it somewhere at the end of this meeting so you guys can access it in case you want to look through all the archives yourselves. So something I've been working on this year has been a catalog of resources. So if you go to njcirclek.org/resources, which I'm going to do right now, you can kind of see that I have a bunch of sections, right? So one of the things that we've been kind of stressing this year is organization, because quite frankly, I've seen a lot in my past 3 years in Circle K that things are kind of just floating everywhere and no one knows where they are. So I've kind of made it my goal this year to take everything and organize it in a nice, simple place. So if you ever want to access this page on the website, you just go over to the resources page. A lot of these sections have their own dedicated pages, like policy and procedures, dues collection, all that stuff. However, if you want to access specific things, just click resources and it'll take you to this page. So we have a couple of sections here. Pretty straightforward. Like if you're looking for anything, these general categories cover the majority of those things. And click on it, it will open up with links to basically everything we have. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a work in progress. I'm always going to be trying to add to this as things come out. However, especially for presidents, I know a lot of times you guys try to reference officer training material for your new board members, or even like membership growth. So those things will be in club building and officer training. These two sections will be your biggest friends. So feel free, if you click on any of these links, it'll take you to kind of like a Google Drive area that has all the files. All right. So you just feel free to download it, extract it to a zip file, etc., etc. So the other big thing I want to emphasize here is the public drive that we have. So Sonia's been doing amazing work with this. We kind of like built it up on it from last year, where basically we have a Google Drive that is open to everyone, whether it's general members, officers, even Guanis if they really want to. So this drive here kind of has a little bit of everything from everywhere. It's a big collection of everything we've done, and like there's a lot of areas you can look through here. So for example, if I were to look for international resources, this folder here kind of has everything, and that would be just titled whatever you're looking for. And you can obviously use search bar and all that type of stuff. However, I just want to make sure everyone's aware that this exists. And like I said, you can just access it by clicking here for this our NJCKI public drive, right? Um, Aside from that, we also have pictures. So during the big events, like Insight, COTC, Econ, we're going to be making public folders in here where you can upload any pictures you take for the conferences. And those will be used for videos. So when I put together like recap videos, those will be used there. And kind of just for publications, like when Sam posts Instagram, that kind of thing. So this drive is all encompassing. It's not just resources. A really good place to just know of. So I would suggest if you can store it, save it somehow, even like make a bookmark to it, just so we can kind of get at what's going on. I know the LTGs also use this a lot. Um, but anyways, that's basically the whole public drive. And aside from that, the website is pretty straightforward, as I said. So the other thing is, 1 second. Sorry, 1 sec. Okay. The bar on top makes it hard to see the tabs. So the other thing is the Circle K International site. So I'm going to emphasize again and again that this is tricky to navigate. So I would suggest if you can ask for whatever you're trying to find, if it's not on the website already, ask like an LTG or something. However, if you go to the circlek.org/resources-main or just click resources, it will kind of have a bunch of links that take you to various places. So if you scroll down the resources, it kind of has various areas based on what you want. So for you guys, most of what you want will be leaders. So press get resources. Now I do know that this will ask you for it will take you to a login page. So I already did this earlier, so it's not prompting me again. However, it's going to be the same username and password you guys use for the MVC. I'm sure you guys have all used the MVC before, at least I hope so. So it's going to be the same email, password for that. And then once you put that information in, it'll take you to this page. So this is kind of just like a bunch of cards that has everything as far as like toolkits, new club charter, resources, all that kind of stuff. And like I said, it is a bit clunky, so I would suggest getting it from other places if you can. But that said, they do have a lot of useful information and resources. So I would like wholeheartedly suggest you take a look through here, especially if, for example, you're looking for, oh, I need a new virtual service project, for example. They have all that stuff on here. They have examples, like ideas, everything you could ever need. So before you take the step of wasting another board meeting, kind of like doing problem solving or like generating ideas, just take a look at the website. I promise you, you'll find something that's useful to you. And like I said, who knows, it might save you hours. So Dale wants me to do more in-depth explanation about the website. Just let me know afterwards. I'd be more than happy to kind of walk people individually through things. But like I said, it is convoluted. And that's basically the two biggest areas of resources. Like I mentioned earlier, there is also the third thing of your executive board. So we have Sonia, OJ, Crystal, Sam. So if you need anything pertaining to more administration stuff, they're the people you want to ask. Obviously, like you will have probably your respective counterpart. So for your presidents, Sonia will be the person to reach out to. And if your board members need any help, they would go to their respective counterpart. But if it's anything general, feel free to talk to your LTGs. We have all three of them in the call. Sam, Kenny, Shayna, and Joe. All three of them know so much about the organization, and they're always willing to help. I talk with them on like basically a semi-daily basis. But yeah, they always know where all the resources are, and if not, I can or they can direct you to someone who does. So feel free to use them as a resource. And yeah, so that's basically everything I wanted to kind of like explain about. Like I mentioned earlier, everything's a work in progress still. So if you anything you guys need, feel free to reach out to me. I'm kind of like the person who puts everything and collects everything together as far as stuff on the website. Um, so yeah, couple more announcements I just wanted to make just to kind of like conclude this presentation. So one of the things that I've been trying to do is kind of gauge like what kind of things people need. So this QR code in here, if you guys don't mind scanning it and filling it out, um, this is just a quick survey asking like about the district resources you have used in the past, kind of like where you got them from, just so like us as a district can kind of like get a gauge of what we can do best to help you guys. It's just a couple of quick questions. So if you guys don't mind quickly scanning this QR code, um, filling out, and then if you don't mind to possibly forwarding it to the rest of the officers, that'd be a really huge help to us, and that way we can better serve. Um, I'll give you guys a couple minutes to scan this. But in the meantime, is there any questions anyone has or comments about anything so far? Right. If not, that's great. Sonia, is there anything you wanted to add or any
Um,
board members?
Not really. I don't know if you saw on the Circle K. Can you pull up the Circle K International website, Anthony, under
Yes.
resources?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Because I just wanted to point out that the international website is a little like hard to like tricky and stuff, but you
Yeah,
can also look here, you can actually search to find the resource. So like um just put in dues for instance. Yeah, so if you search, it'll show like your district dues, the due structure, petition to charter paperwork. You could basically click any one of these, but when you click it, Anthony, you want to click it. For the Circle K website specifically, most of the stuff you can't access unless you're a dues paid member. Like for right now,
yes. Sorry, I did forget to mention that, but
yeah.
that's kind of like where that login thing I was talking about earlier comes in. You only get an account there if you are a newspaper member. So that's kind of like their way of like soft locking you out. Um, so if you have general members who are interested in accessing these just for personal growth, or if they're like a charity who's trying to just like start an event, obviously, like if you can, please try and get them to be a dues pay member. And there's tons of other benefits like alongside that, but we'll talk more about those as the semester goes on, and the rest of the summer, just so you guys have like kind of like a reasonable expectation as to what you can get out of being a dues pay member. But this is just one of the extra benefits. So thank you for bringing it up, Sonia. All right. Is there anything else for anyone? All right, cool. So yeah, so like I said, if you guys don't mind sharing this form with the rest of your officers, that'd be a huge help to us. And if there's anything you want to see, feel free to just throw that in that form too, so that way we can get that made for you. Um, and the last thing I want to talk about is more of a shameless plug. So my committee, the subcommittee, has been starting to develop a series of monthly contests. I think Sonny's gonna be talking about this a little bit later, so I can elaborate more on it then. Um, but we just released one for the summer, which will be ending September 6th. So feel free to check it out. I know the LGG is sending it out. I really encourage you to do it because there's some pretty fun prizes involved. All right. But I'll talk about it more later. Sonia brings it up. All right. So that concludes everything. Thanks guys for listening to me. I will stop waffling and let Sonia